The Old School is brought to you by Ahart Solutions, which provides school surveys and applied research. More information at ahartsolutions.com.
And good morning. Welcome to the Old School Podcast, a podcast about the American education system and sundry, such as culture, history, sports. Who knows? A litany of things could be on our plate, as it is today. And with me in that endeavor is my very good friend, Dr. Stephen Bourgeois. Good morning, sir.
Here, Miller. Good to see you this fine Sunday afternoon. It's
Morning, afternoon. Who knows?
Who knows? Here we are. We're here to enlighten a handful of people with brighten a few days.
If not enlighten, at least amuse would probably be a good objective as well.
It's not based on what?
I'm saying if it's not to enlighten, at the very least, we could say that we have amused the listeners.
Okay. We will.
Do you accept that goal?
Yeah, I think we can start with comedy, and then from that there could be some deeper meaning. Here's hoping.
Here's hoping. You never know. It's one of those things. So, I tried something today. Why not? I tried it. But I had something today I've not had, I bet, in about a year. Have you ever ate Spam?
I have had Spam. I've consumed it. I love Spam. Everything about Spam.
Everything about Spam?
It is. I mean, I wouldn't eat it cold, but when you fry it up, it's really, really good.
Do you know what Spam stands for?
I'm about to find out.
Spiced ham.
Spiced
ham was the original name of the product.
Oh.
And then somewhere, I think in 19 odds, they did like a campaign program to kind of get people's ideas of what they should call it. It's like an abbreviation. And Spam was the winner.
Does it have any pork product in it?
No one knows. No one knows what's I'm going to assume it's perhaps the least kosher thing I have consumed in the last, not that I keep kosher, but I mean, certainly if one was trying to keep kosher, they would stay the hell away from Spam.
So you didn't purchase a cupboard full of Spam during COVID like the rest of us?
I'm sure we probably had Spam at one point or another during that time, but I wasn't preparing for the apocalypse. I mean, I wasn't like, I wasn't storing up on ramen noodles and Kraft macaroni and cheese boxes or Spam.
We did. My big item was beef jerky. I happen to like beef jerky. So
Listen, just because you're in a quarantine doesn't mean you have to be uncivilized.
Yeah. But having beef jerky there all the time for about 2 years, because it took a while to eat my way through it. But I really enjoyed that. I kind of miss it. So
it's a good thing that stuff never goes bad.
Yeah. So what was your Spam experience? What did you do with it?
I just fried it up and mixed it up with some rice. So
Rice?
Yeah. What?
I thought you were going to fry an egg and have fried eggs and Spam the way it's supposed to be served.
I don't think it's supposed to be anything. That's the beauty of Spam, is its utility.
No, it's a right. You put it on the side. I mean, if you want to scramble your eggs, fine, but you don't scramble the Spam in the eggs. You serve it as a slice, almost like a steak. It's a little tiny steak on the side. But
as far as eggs go, I've done both. I've cubed it up, but I would never cook it with the eggs. But you cook it before, and then you use the grease of the Spam to cook the eggs.
Beautiful.
Bob's your uncle,
Yeah.
So no, today I just cut it up and used it in some rice, and wasn't trying to be fancy about it, but I've certainly consumed my fair amount of Spam over the years.
Yeah.
Back in the day, that was the cheap stuff, and so when my parents were looking to, in their ever longing pursuit of saving money, Spam was a miracle worker.
I don't know if it has protein or any food value. I'm not even sure.
I'm going to say it has protein. I bet it has protein because there's meat in it. We just don't know what meat it is.
Okay. Well, if it's a protein food, I may go back to Spam. I bet they have a new type of Spam that has nothing but extra protein.
Everything is doing it these days.
Yeah, they lead with that. 7 grams of protein per 2-ounce serving.
How much carbohydrates?
Um, if I do that, I'll die a happy man. Uh, the carbohydrate is 1 to 3 grams, so it's relatively
Yeah.
low, and it has a lot of fat.
This should be, yeah, well, of course. This should be on Atkins. This should be like an Atkins diet staple.
It's Spam.
Yeah.
Oh, I like
You
that.
don't need Atkins spam. You just have the spam, and that kind of goes towards a low carb diet.
Yeah, it's really easy to cook it up and kinda make 'em you could mega cook it. Remember mega cooking? Where you make a bunch of food and then you freeze it, then you take it out and eat it whenever you want. You can just chomp away at frozen Spam. It's great.
I didn't know it had a particular name to it. We just did that,
No, it's
so
called mega cooking. We used to do that. No, we didn't eat it frozen. We would just reheat it in the microwave, and there you go.
well, reheating stuff in the microwave, that's a dodgy kind of culinary experience, so
None of it's already been cooked,
that's
um,
true.
but Spam you can eat raw if you want. I mean, I've heard tell of
What?
people eating raw Spam sandwiches. They just slice it, pop it on a piece of bread, and eat it.
You'd have to be a psychopath just to take that stuff out of a can, wipe off the gel,
Yeah, you wipe the gel off.
slice off an edge of it, and then put it on between 2 pieces of bread and eat it. What person does that?
A lot of people do, just the same people
That's not
who
supposed
eat,
to be eaten. That's
liver
not
and
supposed
onions. It's no different than eating liver
this is
and onions.
no. This isn't sushi grade fish we're talking about here.
It's not
This
it has already been cooked. It's not like it's raw anything. Either it's already cooked. It's ready to eat.
It has not already been cooked. You take that thing out of the can, you can tell it has not been cooked. It is about as pale and as peachy colored as a newborn baby.
It's a color. Yes, Spam is fully cooked during the canning process and perfectly safe to eat straight from the can without further preparation, Mr. Miller.
What website did you read that from?
It's from the no, it's not a website anymore. It's from whatever AI is attached to Google.
Oh,
And
you're gonna trust AI now?
yeah, but, you go to anything, Spam is pre-cooked under Wikipedia. There you go. And the Ask ADA or USDA, "What is Spam?" It's fully cooked ham, luncheon meat that is packaged and inspected, so it's ready to eat. Everything you need is right in that little can.
Dear listeners, when you get done listening to this episode, or if you're so moved as to do it before, leave a comment.
So comment, it's fully cooked. It's
I
stable.
don't care if they say it's fully cooked or not. There's no way in hell I'm eating that thing raw.
A lot of people will eat it. My mother made Spam sandwiches.
Well, God bless your sainted mother, but I bet you she cooked it first.
Um, I don't think it was necessary. People are on the fence on that. People are saying that they'll take it and just eat it.
Listen, the only people I can imagine doing that is like some sort of Jeremiah Johnson character up in the mountains living off of grubs and raw deer meat. So I
Uh,
can't imagine a person in civilization.
yeah. This is the strangest conversation. It says fully cooked on the can itself. I mean, and so you can eat it. But I agree with you that I like what it does when it gets that fat.
Crispy.
Yeah, crispy. Yeah.
Crispy,
Yeah, I
yeah.
cook the heck out of them just like I do bacon. You could have
Do you
Spam and bacon.
do you think Spam is in any way, culinarily speaking, related to Vienna sausage?
I think they have a lot in common,
They both have the same color, they're both in that gel stuff, they're both out of a can.
and they're both fully cooked. You could eat them both.
I have eaten Vien as a kid. I'm not sure I could stomach Vienna sausage now, cooked or otherwise, but,
I'm gonna put this into my diet. I'm not gonna mix it up with rice. I'm gonna put a fried egg right next to it and make it part of my protein.
again, the beauty of Spam, its utility. You could use it in all kind of dishes, eggs and otherwise.
Yeah. And
Don't
it's
be a
not really
snob.
I'm not a snob. What the hell? I would eat it, just like I could put it in with, Asian food and a little bit of Spam. It would spice
Ooh,
it up, you
ooh,
know?
yeah,
And
that'll
it
work.
handles spices probably really well. You could marinate Spam. Think of that. Put it in some, some
I
bath
have some
stuff.
kung pao sauce in the kitchen.
Yeah, because it's a good texture when it's cooked.
Yeah.
Um, okay. You could
When
make
it's raw
Spam
out of
soup.
when it's raw out of the can, the texture is not unlike what I imagine brains to be.
Well, that's a little weird here, Miller, but it's better than, say, tofu, but it would suck up the flavor. You could make Spam soup. You can make a pho with
Making pho with
yeah,
Spam. Sure, why not? I'd go for it.
you're great.
Um, so today, now that we've fully, explored the wonders
I
that
had a
is
lot more
Spam.
I had a lot more material there. I didn't know where that was heading, but, you
Did
just
you know that
wondered.
Spam is a Hormel product made almost exclusively in Minnesota?
No, but now I do.
You know what else is exclusively made in Minnesota?
Don't
Is
say it.
Pop-Tarts. Pop-Tarts.
What's it called?
Pop-Tarts.
Pop-Tarts. Okay, I thought you were gonna make some inappropriate political comment. We were gonna have to mute you for a little bit.
No, 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 no. Anyway, so today, as we are recording this, we are still in the afterglow of a U.S. men's hockey gold medal victory over the hated Canadians 2-1 in overtime in a remarkable game, the first gold medal in men's hockey that the U.S. has won since the Miracle on Ice triumph at Lake Placid in 1980.
It's hard to believe. You
It's
think
been that
about
long.
then aren't there a lot of American hockey players in the NHL?
There are.
I mean,
There's also a lot of Canadians and a lot of other people, so
but if you looked at the just the pure numbers, you'd have to say there are more American players than Canadians,
oh, yeah. Well, yeah, probably so, yes.
and there aren't that many Russians.
Not as many as there used to be.
Okay, so you would think that the Americans have been underachieving over these years.
Yeah, I mean, you can certainly say that, although the problem with having so many Americans in the league is that you there's so many good players you have to leave out, and ostensibly what you hope is you pick the right best players. But that's not always easy. That great movie, Miracle, where, Kurt Russell, I think it was, played, Herb Brooks, the coach, and he had that line in the movie, he said, "I'm not looking for the best players, I'm looking for the right ones." And so even if you have the best players, it doesn't always guarantee success.
It's a long time since 1980.
It is. And
Well,
before that, the last time they won hockey gold was 1960.
okay.
So we've not lit it up Olympic speaking, you know, as it regards to men's hockey.
So has the Canada team been, the leader over these years? Have they replaced the Soviets?
Well, I think the Russians are still a stout team, although the current political situation has left them out of the Olympics. And so
Oh,
you had Italy had to field the team. God knows how they did that because hockey is not an Italian sport, certainly nothing that's very popular. And so people whose great grandfather was Italian but lived in the United States since probably got a chance to play for the Italians. Um, so yeah. Or if you're like the Chinese, you just buy people to represent you. But that's one of the big controversies that has existed. In this last Olympic game is there's one American skier who, because her mother or her grandmother was Chinese, the Chinese paid her an obscene amount of money to skate or ski for the Chinese.
because she had a grandparent?
Or it was either her mother or her grandmother was Chinese. So it's not like out of the blue. It's not like they paid just a random Americano to do it. She did have Chinese lineage.
So do they allow professional athletes to compete in the Olympics?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what the hockey thing was about. I think I heard somewhere that all of the teams, all the hockey teams, male hockey teams, playing in the Olympics, their roster was almost completely made up of NHL players.
I knew the answer to that, but are you comfortable with that? I mean, I go back to basketball and the fact that we were playing college players against pros was pretty exciting. But there was initially an amateur code to the Olympics, and it's gotten out of the bottle to the point where now you have NBA players, and they act like they have an Olympic dream, and they're all excited, but they're so much better than everybody else. Hockey, I mean, it seems like that was a big win. I'm not going to degrade that, but the idea, the bigger notion of having professionals, do you think that is a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't like it.
Yeah.
I mean, because one of what we're talking about today, of course, are the Olympics.
Yeah.
But the thing I love the Olympics. I love, 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 love the Olympics, and I don't care if I only watch curling once every 4 years. It doesn't matter. I still love it, and I think there is something noble about the idea of amateur athletes. Now, I don't know as the Olympics get bigger, as more sports are added, I don't know how sustainable it is to only have amateur players. But it's just, it's one of those things where I think as excited as I was when the US scored in overtime against the Canadians, I do harken back to, because they were making a lot of comparisons, first goal since 1980, but 1980 was a completely different animal. Now, you could also say 1980 was just like today, except it was one-sided. Only one side was using professional players, in this case, the Soviets. But I do think the Olympics is missing something when you have professional athletes.
I think that's probably the reason for my boycott, because I boycotted the Winter Olympics. It's a tough one to say. Um, and I'll probably not boycott the Summer Olympics for
But they'll have professional hot soccer players. They have
I know, but I
professional.
like watching track and field. But the part that ruined it for me was that dream team and, NBA players coming out there.
The 92 team
Yeah.
in Barcelona.
Yeah, living in the Olympic Village, having their experience. It's like, what if you took, say, the Seattle Seahawks, and they're playing football against the Germans and everybody else. It's the same thing, and uh, there is something beautiful about these athletes laboring in an obscurity for the whole year, and this is their big thing, and they're putting in all this time, and then they have the competition. It's perfect. But as soon as you put in money and I mean, there's so much, not just professional teams, but now advertisement, and the networks pick maybe 5 or 6 or 7 or 10 athletes and their stories, and they're the poster child for that Olympics, and I never liked any of that. I wanted to just say a competition.
But at the same time, though, this idea of a pure amateur Olympics is an idea that has not been a reality for some time.
Mhm.
One of the reasons why 1980 was so special was not
Right.
just that the US beat the Soviets, but amateurs beat, in every sense of the word, professionals. And you think about the fact that college athletes, they can't even be considered amateur anymore now that they're getting,
Right. Yeah.
payments, NIL payments and what have you, so they're off the books.
Mhm.
I just don't think, as much as I can sit here and say it would be better if everyone was an amateur, I just don't know if that's practical any longer going forward.
Well, so I'm just gonna boycott it.
Well, that's just stupid. Mhm.
Well, it isn't, because there are other things. It has to do with the coverage. I mean, recently, with all the streaming, there are so many different places to watch,
Yeah,
and there used to be, you'd watch the Olympics, it was ABC TV.
yeah, or
You'd have
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, and they would talk you through it, and but it was manageable, so you could watch the big stuff, but um,
You're saying that there's a parallelization of choice now.
yeah, so Summer Olympics was the same thing, and you have to buy these silly little streaming services to watch, and so it's all a marketing scam to get you onto these streaming services, which is the bigger picture. So it's professionalism, and now it's the marketplace of streaming, and it doesn't feel the same. It's lost its innocence.
Well, it's lost its innocence, but again, you could say that a lot of things lost its innocence quite a long time ago. But I think the idea of the Olympics is still ultimately a good thing. The
Mhm.
notion of people coming together, the notion that enemies can compete on the field of competition rather than on the field of battle, and that's okay. There's a very famous story about the 1972 Olympics, Summer Games in Munich, that ill-fated Olympic experience where um, one of the Israeli athletes who later was killed by terrorists. He was walking through the Olympic Village with his wife, and he said, "Oh, there's some weightlifters from Lebanon. I think I'm going to go talk to them." And
Well,
his wife goes, "Are you kidding? We're at war with Lebanon." He goes, "This is not war. This is the Olympics. This is sport. We're all just weightlifters."
yeah.
And there's something beautiful in the idea that even when politicians can't seem to pull it together, that athletes who share a common experience as far as training, as far as the growth in the sport or what have you, that they can look past almost everything and see the beauty of the sport in and of itself, even if politicians and militaries and what have you cannot see the same thing about the other side. And so I love the Olympics, and so for me, even though the idea of amateurism is gone, most likely forever, I think there's still something valuable in the overarching idea behind it.
So the fact that I guess starting in 1980 is that when there was the first real big scale boycott? I think that's when we boycotted. Is that
We
right?
boycotted the summer games, yes.
Yeah, and that seems to be something that'll probably happen more and more. That people have something with whoever is hosting it, and they
It
won't.
hasn't happened since. I mean, since that kind of, back and forth between the Russians and the Soviets and the Americans, we have not had a boycott since, and so Uh, hopefully, I mean, I guess we have sanctions against the Russians. They're not allowed to compete because of the actions of their government. But again, I'm not, I don't, I'm not sure I agree with that. I mean,
Yeah,
I certainly don't like what the Russians have done in the Ukraine. And I certainly wish, Putin and the whole gang would be out of the Ukraine, let the Ukraine alone, let them do their thing. But I'm still not sure that's the right thing to do.
yeah. It's because there was some purity of the Olympics.
Mhm.
It did pause during the wars, right?
Yeah.
World War I, during World War II. They? I mean,
I'm not sure about that.
well, there was the 1936, but there certainly wasn't a 1940 Olympics.
Yeah.
Uh,
Uh, Well, I'm looking it up real quick, but, um,
we had Jesse Owens and
that's
that,
the 36 in Berlin.
yeah. So I
Uh,
wonder when it resumed.
so there was a 1940 Olympic, it was canceled, as was the '44 Olympics.
Well,
Only the 1916 games, which was supposed to be in Germany, that was canceled. So you have 3 cancellations, 1916, 1940, and 1944. But that's the only time the games have been canceled. Now, if you have uh, I wanna amend a little bit. We're talking about the idea of the Russians not being allowed to compete under the Russian flag, although there were some Russian athletes who competed under like Olympic flag or something.
yeah.
But, if a country is found to be guilty of large scale cheating and things of that nature, I think that's what the Russians first got in trouble for about 10 years ago. I think that may be a different story, but again, it should only affect those who were doing the cheating.
Yeah.
So, um, I don't know. Have you ever desired to go to the Olympics?
I like a good track meet, so
Mhm.
I could it's incredibly watchable. You sit down and all this unfolds in front of you, and there are high points, not unlike baseball. There's a rhythm to it, and then there are these incredible high points, and then you have some time to relax and talk. So it's quite watchable, and it also translates really well to television. But yeah, I would go to a summer games maybe, but just for that, I wouldn't go to the diving events or
Yeah.
whatever else they
You've
have.
been to the US trials in Eugene, have you not? For, Olympic, qualifying?
I think we were there, or we snuck in or something. But I can remember seeing Steve Prefontaine in that when he was before the Olympics.
Mhm.
Because yeah, the trials were there always, and
Hmm.
that's so the Olympic trial is a great event. But yeah, I would probably do it, but it's not. We haven't really gotten into my list of grievances here. You kind of mentioned the curling controversy, not whatever their issues are. I'm saying curling itself is controversial because it's like watching shuffleboard, and who would care? So I would
It's an extremely popular sport. What do you mean, who would care?
television. I mean, people are sitting there. You would have to have an incredible announcer to bring any life to it. They're just sitting there watching and scrubbing the floor.
The
Yeah,
sport itself lends to its own excitement. Let me tell you something before we get into the rest of your questionable grievances about the Olympics.
yeah.
And is it all just different sports that you don't like it being in the Olympics? Is that what your grievances amount to?
No, I have one other.
Okay, well, hang on to that. So in 2010, my wife and I checked off a bucket list item. We went to the Winter Olympics in Vancouver.
I remember.
And yeah, and so oh, well, yeah, you do. And so um the ticket process was very difficult because you had to put your name in for a lottery, and then you had to pick 3 sports that are for example, you could 3, 5, whatever sports
So you
that
picked
you
hockey.
wanted. Say again?
So you picked hockey.
As well, we picked hockey, we picked curling, and we picked, ski jumps. And, my wife, who is a diehard figure skating fan,
Yeah.
just did not think it was possible to get tickets, and even if we were going to have a shot of getting tickets, it would be too expensive, and so we decided to watch it in our rental in Vancouver. But, but I will tell you, the hockey, of course, that experience watching a hockey game is not that different than going to an NHL game or going to an AHL game or what have you. And so in that sense, that was not so big because it was an experience I was used to, even though we got to see this US beat Switzerland. Um, but curling, first of all, curling is done in a very small arena. And as luck would have it, our seats were right next to the edge lane where the Americans were playing, where the American women were playing against the Danish women in curling. And that was so cool. You were so close to the athletes and you were so close to the whole action. It was difficult not getting into it.
Didn't one of
And,
them smile at you? One of the contestants?
one of the athletes, you mean?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, because there's because like I said, because they were so close, there was one that I was particularly drawn to. I think her name was Natalie. I can't remember her last name, but I said something to the effect of, you're doing great,"
It's like you're
and she smiled and did like a little curtsy kind of a thing,
wow,
and I was hooked. If I had not been married and if she had not been married, I would have professed my love there on the spot.
wow.
But that was kinda cool because you were just so close to the action, and it was something. It's still a strange sport, but it's a cool sport. And then the other thing was ski jumping, and initially we thought we had missed out because we couldn't get tickets to one of the seated, places, but rather we were part of the group milling about at the bottom of the ski jump, and we thought, "Oh, it's not gonna be as fun, but it's still gonna be great." And it turned out to be perhaps 10 times better than what's sitting in the seats because you were sitting there mingling with everybody. There's all these people. There's one guy dressed as a beaver, and just all the Canadian national emblems. People were dressed up, and then everyone was in their colors and regalia, And of course, these guys who were skiing and ladies who were skiing, they walked right past you as they made their way up to the top or as they were coming down after they had kind of come to a stop at the bottom of the hill. You were right there. They were right in front of you. And I got great photographs, and it was just an incredible experience. And I, I love I love the national aspect of it. I love people. I love people's patriotism for their own country. I love listening to different languages. I love talking to people from different places. And it was an experience that I'm not likely to forget. However, you might try to besmirch the sport
Yes.
of curling.
Well, yeah, it's a game. There's a difference between sports and games. It's almost like a board
This
game.
isn't checkers.
It's like you're standing on the board game. But, um, so but there's no contact between them. If it was full contact curling, that would be really cool. You know,
You're
they could
you're a
use
bar
little sticks
you're
and
a barbarian. They're brooms. They're not sticks.
yeah, they could whack each other with that, and they would have to do some blocking schemes, and lots of things come to mind. Full contact curling, I would watch that.
Your beloved track and field doesn't have contact. What makes that? I mean, that's just people running around.
It's been going on since the Greeks. I mean, have they been doing curling? When did they add curling to the Olympics?
I think in like 20 BC.
Seriously?
No,
I mean, they
I think
just invented you hadn't heard of it until, like, when I met you. Did you know
no.
curling as a kid? And were you a fan growing up? Did you have, collecting cards of curlers?
I did not collect cards of famous Olympic curlers or anything of that ilk. But
Okay,
I mean, since the and I didn't know the sport when I was a kid because you only know what's around you.
yeah.
But I think the very first Winter Games was the very first Winter Games was in Chamonix in 24. I think prior to that it was only Summer Games that were
Oh,
held.
I see. So it's relatively new. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Uh,
and so Chamonix I think was the first time that by the way, beautiful city, beautiful little village in the French Alps. I think that was the first time curling made this introduction because of its connection to, winter sports and the fact that the Canadians, like with hockey, they invented it, I think, or the Scots did, excuse me. So,
so my other concern is that how could a country with
okay.
a mere 5.7 million inhabitants beat
Yes.
on the United States, so 342 million, and this country, Norway, had 18 gold medals. We had 12. They had 41. We had 33 overall medals. They dominated us. How can that happen? The
First of all, I
machine
think
we're bringing our pro athletes, and suddenly the Norwegians are just dominating us and dancing over our graves. What happened?
first of all, not everyone is showing up. And so it's not like all 300 plus million people of Americans are showing up against
But
the Norwegians.
we should be able to field a curling team out of that. I mean, what do they just win these are not just downhill or long distance skiing or cross country. I mean, they've won a variety of things. These
Listen, the fact that the Norwegians beat us in the gold medal count
Yeah.
is no great crime because, I mean, the Norwegians have been a Winter Olympic
Yeah,
powerhouse from the very beginning.
right. That
And
doesn't
so
bother
the fact that the Norwegians can field an Olympic team that can be so dominating is neither new, barely noteworthy.
but it's strange that Finland, with their
Yeah.
great educational system, they only have 6 medals total, and then the Norwegians have 41. Why would that be? How do you account for that?
The Norwegians have a greater emphasis and they have a greater cultural connection to a lot of those sports, and it draws people in. You can have all the people you want to, but if the people are not interested in your particular sport, it really doesn't matter. But what the Norwegians have a history and not just a sporting history, but a national history where many of the things that you see in the Olympics, such as the biathlon, the cross country skiing with intermittent shooting involved,
Yeah, that's a
uh,
strange sport too.
yeah, a lot of these things are things that have, unfortunately for the Norwegians, have been a necessity in fending off enemies and what have you. And so it has historical connections, it has cultural connections, it has military connections. There's so much of what the Norwegians do from an Olympic standpoint, especially in the winter, that has a much greater importance and understanding by the average Norwegian than you would find anywhere else, Finland, the United States, or otherwise.
So, um, thank you for setting me straight here, Miller.
I had to
Uh,
do it.
so, if you were to be on the Olympic Committee, and in fact, in charge of the committee, one vote, um,
Okay.
which sport would you add to the Winter Olympics that's not there now?
To the Winter Olympics.
Yes, because they
Hmm.
have ice dancing, whatever that
Yeah,
is.
we could do without that. We
Okay,
don't,
so
we don't need that.
so
There are sports there are events I would get rid of.
okay, we'll start there. Which ones?
Ice dancing. You don't need that.
It's just pair skating, but they can't jump, right?
Well, I mean, no, they don't. I don't know if they can't jump, but they don't usually jump in the dancing competitions. That's only for like couples and pairs and and singles that do the jumping. But um, I don't think I I want to go ahead and say it. I don't think we need women's softball, and that's in the summer. But I mean, there's a lot of sports that I don't think have the international interest, and
So
it's not just whatever host team coming up with trying to make a sport out of try to make an Olympic sport out of something that no one else really
mhm.
practices.
So am I wrong that it's actually a really small number of events?
It
I'm
is
gonna read this.
the winter is much smaller than, say, the summer. The
I
summer
mean,
is not only bigger as far as the events go, it's also bigger as far as the amount of countries that
yeah,
participate.
but listen to this. This is it.
Okay.
You have alpine skiing, and then probably different events within that. Biathlon, that's where they shoot not at each other, but when they stop,
At a
they shoot
target, yeah.
targets.
Yeah,
Uh, Bobsled, um, cross country skiing, curling,
sure.
figure skating, freestyle skiing.
I'd get
And
rid of all
and
the X Games stuff.
yeah,
We
they
don't
jump
need
around and
snowboard stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't do that.
Okay, ice hockey, luge, which is you know what the luge is.
And I'm aware, yes.
Okay, Nordic combined, so that's a type of skiing of that's done in the Nordic country, but combined. You have short track speed skating, something called skeleton. I don't know what the heck that is. Why did they put that in there?
I think the skeleton is like it's like the bobsled thing. I think it's connected with bobsled, luge,
They should just merge it in with those. That's a weird name. Ski jumping, ski
yes,
mountaineering. That sounds a
yeah.
little bossy. I don't know what that is. Snowboard, which is probably really new, and speed skating. So that's a rather tight little list. Now I see why the Norwegians are winning because we don't really do any of that here.
I will tell you, the speed skating is pretty cool to watch.
And we
That
do
that
well. Yeah, that would be fun. That'd be a good. Okay, so I didn't really know. That tells how out of touch I've been. It's a relatively small group. So when you picked your three sports, um,
yeah.
you didn't have like this laundry list you could choose from. It was relatively small.
And I think to many of the listeners, you were proven wrong long before you started reading off those lists of events. I think
No,
most
I
people thought.
memorized them before the in my preparation for the podcast.
By the way, do you think you would ever want to go see the Olympics? You talked about the summer would be kind of fun because you would go to track and field,
I
or
can't.
is it that I think you would I don't think you would go because I think you would think it's too many people.
Yeah, I don't want to be around crowds of people. And if I make an active choice, that would not be one of them. Um,
Right.
so if I'm going to be around a crowd of people, I want it to be inside a concert hall. then I would do it.
So do you so you're not against the Olympics. You're just it's not what you wished it would be, and so therefore that's why you don't follow it on TV or what have you.
Well, I mean, I don't watch any of these sports, any of
Yeah.
them. One, yeah, and the figure skating, I'm not drawn into that either. I mean, not at all. So there's something about that that bothers me, just like there is with gymnastics, where they're grading them on these incredibly difficult things, and one little thing makes a difference. And I find that stressful. It's not like enjoyable. I would look at the positive, all the great things they're doing, and then and these people are talking while they're doing it. If they got rid of the commentators, and we just because if you go to the event, you don't hear Peggy Fleming or whatever, she's still with us, talking in the background, you
But
know?
my wife will tell you that half the joy that she gets from watching figure skating is Johnny Weir and Tara Lipinski and who the other straight guy,
Dick
uh
Buttons,
say again?
Dick Buttons.
No, I don't know what his name is, but he's like the more straight, narrow kind of, sports broadcaster.
Wasn't sure who you're thinking that.
No, 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 but I think she loves listening to them talk
Yeah,
about it,
I could
because
yeah,
with regards to Johnny Weir and Tara Lipinski, these are 2 accomplished
right,
figure skaters, and so they might have something worth talking about, and it gives a greater explanation of what you're seeing. So I
yeah.
think for my wife, and I would imagine many people who like figure skating, I think that that provides a little extra added, uh, certainly commentary, but also expertise and understanding of what you're seeing.
I think if I attended, it would be things that are indoor events, like curling, strangely enough. I mean, it's in a place, you have a seat, but
Right.
I wanna be mingling around the crowd. I pay all this money, I'm just kinda hanging out in the snow. It could be raining,
Mm.
snowing, whatever. So a lot of these are outdoor sports that aren't really great. I mean, I guess ski jumping, if you're sitting in the stands, that could be really cool.
Yeah, well, but like I said, I mean, we weren't in the stands. We were down at, ground level, kinda milling about, and that
So are
was
they flying above you practically?
well, no, but there are I mean, wh where they come down and where they end up stopping,
Yeah.
adjacent to that is where the crowds were. At least that's what it was in Whistler, which is just north of Vancouver.
Wow.
And so, uh, I thought it was the best seat in the house. I think I would have much rather have been there than actually
Okay.
been in a seat.
Well,
And there is something about the idea of being out and about.
yeah,
Uh,
you're a man of the people, though.
well, I am. It has been said.
So
But I really would like to go to the summer games.
okay. Um, the one last ski memory is the beginning of Wild World of Sports, where they see
Uh,
that terrible fall or
yeah.
crash. I don't know if that person died, but we had to watch it every week, and we all had a reaction to it. It's like they fell on the ramp of the ski jump or something, whatever
And
it
then
was.
they just slid right off the edge.
Yeah, and then poles and legs everywhere. It was just that was the agony of defeat.
So what's interesting is that, first of all, I think your objections to the Olympics are capricious at best, and I
Well,
think you're
they're so
trying
huge. I had no idea
yeah,
they're just little sports.
but I think you're trying to be funny, but I think but there are people who don't like the Olympics, and I think, there's those who don't like it for non-Olympic reasons. You know, it costs too much and it's commercialization of sport, all of which, yes, you can make that claim. But then there's another group of people who, who seem to not like the international aspect of it. You know, too many people from too many
Well,
different countries getting,
as Mr.
getting,
Miller pauses again
can you hear me?
on our Zoom, the international part is the only reason to watch it probably, if this otherwise it's just a ski event, which no one would partake of.
But I think there's more to it than that. I think the fact that some people don't like it because there's an international quality to it, I just don't. I mean, what are we doing? What are we talking about?
Yeah, no,
I don't think it's
that's
that big of a deal.
yeah, no,
I,
that would be the best part, and you spoke eloquently about getting the countries together for something that's completely positive and sporting, and they congratulate each other afterwards, and all the good sportsmanship that could and should come out of it.
There is a beauty to it, and it's a beauty that we could certainly use a lot more of. And so, for anyone to poo-poo the kind of beauty of people from different walks of life and different lands coming together in a common cause, uh, I don't know how you complain about that. I mean, these are the same people that also complain about soccer. They think it's too international. I don't know. I mean, it's nonsensical, but to me, the Olympics are what relations could be, and unfortunately, what happens outside of the Olympics is what relations are.
So I have you didn't give me your sport, by the way, your additional sport. I have one, a new
Additional sport for what?
Winter Olympic sport. I've come up.
Okay, let's hear it.
You need to hear me out on this. Um, it's called ice fishing. Wouldn't that be great? They could cover it, and they have these different little igloos set up there, drop their line in, and just like a fishing competition, it would translate really well to television. The people watching could, like, march around on the ice. That would be pretty fun. So I think that and people consider fishing a sport, Bass Masters and all that. So I'm gonna propose to the committee that we do ice fishing.
How about ice swimming? Let's cut 10 lanes out of a thing of ice and have people jump from the ice into the water to do laps.
You're trying to punish them for something they didn't
No, no, no.
that sounds really dangerous,
Yeah, it probably
hypothermia
is.
will set in.
It's probably
I
a dumb idea, but it would be it there is a lot more to consider here potentially. So, I like
Yeah.
ice fishing though.
Okay, so I think we're now increasing the audience, you see, and we wouldn't be doing skeleton or whatever the hell that is. Um,
Skeleton, isn't that when they lay down on the sled and they either lay face first or they lay on their back and they have to go down the same pathway that the luge does,
I
and they
don't
gotta
know.
somehow hold it together? That's pretty
Sounds
cool though.
I guess so. A person you could break every bone in your body doing that too.
Well, yet people still don't do that. So, I mean, I think it's not quite nearly as quite the danger as you might think. Yeah, skeleton is it's a winter sliding sport. Person's riding a small sled known as a skeleton bobsled down a frozen track. You lie either face down and then or head first, or
Oh,
you
I
do
did
both.
that.
So,
Okay. Well, maybe is there an age limit to being an Olympian? Because we could both give that a try. There's still
so it's
time.
interesting because one of the women who won for the Americans in bobsled, she won gold. She was 42.
Really?
Yeah. Now it's interesting you mentioned age restrictions because it seems like back in the day, the gymnasts and the ice skaters were like flirting with like 12, 13, 14 years old. And I don't think that's allowed anymore.
It isn't?
But no, I don't think so.
They need to be,
I'm not
like,
sure.
in college or something?
I don't know if they have to be in college, but I think that they can't be quite that young. And, because you had like the Soviets had kids that are like 12, 13 doing gymnastics because they were flying all over the place and because they're super light. And same thing with the ice skaters. And
That's a
so,
problem. And yeah, and they had, like, mental health issues after all of that
well,
too.
yeah, but because of the demands and the pressures that existed on those poor kids. And so I think now there is a floor, and I think the ceiling is just, if
You
you
gotta
can
roll.
make this, if you can make the team, you're in. So
Okay, so you're saying there's a chance, there's hope.
not for me, but I mean, to somebody, sure.
Well, bobsledding.
Right on a sled.
We can get these guys together.
Well, listen, folks, those of you listening, I hope that you did watch the Olympics. I hope that you enjoyed the Olympics. I hope you got to see that extra time, overtime goal by the Americans to win gold in ice hockey earlier this morning. It was a beautiful thing indeed. And I'm glad we had a chance to talk about it because it's just something I very much love, but I don't think we've ever broached the subject.
Yeah, we talk about everything else but this.
Well, with that, we shall say adieu to y'all, dear listeners. Thank you so much for listening. And remember to leave a comment on whether you think the Olympics are good. I said something earlier about, leave a comment. What do you think? It may have been about curling. But anyway, thank you for listening. And I shall say adieu, Herr Dr. Bourgeois.
Auf Wiedersehen, Herr Miller.